and good evening. A warm welcome to all of you. I hope all of you are doing very well. Some of you have had a good break because of the Ramadan or Eid holidays. So welcome back. Communication is one of the most important areas of our life. It is common knowledge that our loved ones challenge us the most to stay calm, compassionate, and open-hearted. No matter how much spiritual or personal growth work we have done, inevitably we get stimulated by something a loved one says or does, and we lose our capacity to communicate with compassion. But these are the times we need our compassion the most. Joining us today from Kuwait, Sister Aruna Ladva, who is known to most of you, but to those who are hearing her or seeing her for the first time today, I will give you a brief introduction. Sister Aruna began her journey at a very young age, at 14, and she has been studying and practicing meditation, teaching, facilitating different workshops and programs on self-development for many, many years, and for also well-being. Sister Aruna is also a certified negotiator in conflict resolution. She is also an author of 5 books. And for those of you who do not know, she has her own blog, which is It's Time to Meditate. So for those of you who haven't signed up for her blogs, do look it up and sign up, because I would personally suggest it's a beautiful blog. That's where I get most of my inspiration from. So let us welcome her today. Good morning.
Good morning, Jabin. Om Shanti. Thank
Om
you for having
Shanti.
me. Hello to everyone.
Over to you now, sister.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, compassionate communication. So maybe before we begin, maybe let's just have a moment of stillness. And in this moment of stillness, I'd like you to get a feeling of what is compassionate communication. Just a feeling. Don't think too much. Just see what comes to you. And what came to you? So I think really as soon as we think of the word compassion, to me, I think of humility, and I think of gentleness. Yeah, if you'd like to write something in the chat, I can maybe read it. But yeah, compassionate communication is really about creating, as the password said, right? It's really about creating this harmony in our life. Why would we have compassionate communication with others? Because we want a peaceful life. Because we want a happy life. Exactly. Here's one answer. This feeling of peace between each other, love, yes, understanding, yes, listening. Yep. Yeah, so this is why we want to make the effort to make our communication as smooth as possible, so that It's not I say something and the other person reacts. And then it's kind of tit for tat. I said something, then they responded, then I have to respond. So what I want to do actually in the beginning is to actually talk about the things that we should not be saying. It's not about what we should be saying. It's about the things that we should not be saying. So let's begin with that. Have you ever thought, does anybody want to sit and listen to your complaints? Exactly. Does anybody want to know how ill you are, how sick you are, how difficult life is, how how many problems and aches and pains you have in every muscle, every part of your body? Do people want to know your financial situation, good or bad? Right? Nobody's really interested. And so for us to let me sum this up. Like, for us to say things like, as I said, if I'm criticizing, if I'm gossiping, if I'm complaining, if I'm making excuses, somebody says sometimes they are interested. Okay, maybe. But what I'm trying to say is, a lot of the time people want your company but not your problems. And this is the point, that they want you to be nice, they want you to be happy, they want you to make them happy, and they want you to be an added investment to your life. I mean, to their life. They want you to be an investment to their life, but not a deficit. So they don't want somebody who has lots of problems and then they have to spend time trying to help you fix it. And so what happens then is, that's when communication gets difficult. Have you ever imagined, right? Imagine if Superman starts complaining that, oh, I have this muscle ache and this back pain, and or who else do we have? Superwoman, we have Incredible Hulk, we have Batman, right? Imagine if each one of them now starts complaining about the price of bread, or how difficult life is to be flying around helping others. We're not interested. In fact, that admiration for them drops, that charisma for them drops, because we see them in this powerful light. And we can never imagine that, Superman, Batman would ever sit and complain or criticize. So, yeah, my point here is that a lot of it is about the things we don't say. Now, as you know, this talk is not simply about the communication skills that maybe one might get in the corporate world. I'm going to add bits of spirituality to this. So in our language, the things you don't say, it's really aspects of silence. Exactly. People don't want to burden themselves with problems of others. Yes, thank you. So it's actually about providing silence. It's about providing that comfort, that listening ear. So when somebody does come to you and you are able to just be present and not help them try to finish their sentences, and not nudge them to, hurry up and finish what they have to say. If you can just be absolutely silent and present, that actually speaks volumes. And I'm thinking particularly of patients. Say now there are COVID patients. If you can't do anything, just go and sit beside them. And just that silent communication, just that act of giving those good wishes, love and good wishes, is just so important. It's like just your presence is so important. Like I very often say, I'll say it while I remember it now, that before we go anywhere, our vibration reaches there before we do. So for example, like you're going to visit your sisters or mother or whoever. So they will start thinking about you, right? They will start saying, oh, she's coming. Oh, she likes to eat this. Oh, we will sit here. Let's tidy the place. She likes this. She doesn't like this. Let's get her that. So your vibration has already reached there. It could be good or bad, right? That's the good part. What about the bad part? You know, if somebody says, oh no, Aruna's coming, you know, or so-and-so is coming, and, you know, you find them a difficult person. And so then again, you start vibing that. You start thinking of them, and you start thinking what it might turn out to be like. And in a way, you're kind of responsible for what is the outcome, because you've already, in a way, projected your thoughts and feelings into that outcome, right? By your attitude, by your behavior. So yeah, that's the first thing I wanted to say, is that let us try and reduce the words. Let us be more objective. Let's try to find the more positives of what's going on in the situation. And really, even this morning, because we had this discussion, we normally have a discussion every Saturday morning. So I said, let's take up this aspect. And so, yeah, somebody was saying that it's actually like when they have to send an email, they have to actually contact the person in their company. They have to actually phone them and speak to them. And then they say, I'm going to send you an email. In other words, there has to be that personal touch in communication before we just write off anything to that person. So this is what I'm trying to say, that where possible, let us be present, let us be positive, and let us not zoom in on the negatives. Let us try to see the glass half full, right? This is the thing. And my main point here, yeah, let's try and really experience the silence and share the silence as much as possible, because the language of silence is the most powerful, really. Okay, then I want to actually talk about aggressive behavior, and how when we communicate, if we communicate from a place of stress, if we communicate from a place of anger or ego, then chances are the other party will really switch off. Really. Nobody is going to give you that respect if there is that tone of voice, which is authoritative tone of voice, said in arrogance, said in anger, said as a demand, said as a form of control. People just switch off, and they might do it in that moment because you're their boss or because you're a figure of authority, but they will not do it again. And you will not earn their respect, because why should you? Because, okay, this is why should you be nice? Because people remember you for how you made them feel and not for what you said. So if I've said something in a very authoritative voice, how have I made them feel? I've made them feel low, like they're nothing, like you have to be my servant, you have to do this for me, you have to be the runaround boy. So it doesn't give them a good feeling. So instead, if I use the language, and this is what we were discussing this morning, how English language is just so flowery, because in the English language in England, you have to speak proper. And that means that you have to add perhaps, maybe, would you like to? That would be so nice. Thank you, right? Always say thank you. Never have a shortage of saying thank you. Always say please and thank you. and you'll just win people. In fact, here, because I live with a few Indians, they say, Didi, why you keep saying thank you to us? It's our duty to do it. And I say, no, it's just my upbringing. I have to say thank you. So yes, I'll come to cultures in a minute, but yeah, in some cultures, there isn't a need for thank you. It's just understood. I'll do this for you and you'll do this for me. But in some cultures, they demand a thank you. So we have to understand cultures. Anyway, I'll come to a bit more on that in a minute. But just to finish this, yeah, if I'm speaking in an aggressive tone, arrogant tone, then yeah, definitely people will switch off. And it's the feeling, it's the vibe that's created. That's why we like the word compassionate communication, because again, it's the vibe that's created from that. From this kind of communication, as I said, it doesn't feel good, doesn't feel right. I want to run away, run a mile. And yeah, it's the feeling. Yeah, the heart is not happy. Of course, there's lots of thoughts running in the head, but the heart is not content. And so, yeah, people don't want to be around you. Okay. So let us now come to the actual compassionate communication. So yeah, what is it? And there is a difference between compassion and mercy. And in my opinion, I'm sure everybody has a point of view, but in my opinion, mercy is really granted by God, I think. Okay, mercy is a quality that's granted by God. And okay, we can be merciful in certain acts. Like if somebody's done something to us and then we forgive them, that's an act of mercy. That's yeah, quite grand, quite great. But when we say to have compassion, compassion is a bit like empathy, where you kind of understand what that person's going through. And as a result of that, you're able to share their pain and you're able to understand. But again, be careful, yeah? Don't. I learned this lesson in my teens, when somebody was going through something and I said, yeah, I understand. And they said, no, you don't understand. And they got so mad at that. And it made me realize that, yeah, we can't really say I understand to everything. I mean, we may understand with our head, but we can't understand the feelings that they're going through, the trauma that they are going through or have been through, unless we've been in an identical situation like that. So again, be careful not to overuse this, I understand. So again, that's why I'm saying at times my experience is you just be present and you just listen. And that is just so comforting to the soul. You're not judging, you're not preempting, you're not helping finish their sentences. You're not trying to put words in their mouth by saying, oh yeah, you feel like this, right? You feel like that, right? So yeah, my point is here that real compassion is when I at least make the effort to try and understand what they might be going through. And then to have the other qualities of patience, kindness, tolerance, cooperation. I think this is all inclusive in the compassion. Now, there is a story of a monk, because as you know, monks really try to practice this, right? The Buddhist monks, this is like one of their, you could say, pillars of practice. And so there was a Buddhist monk who was caught in the Chinese territory and tortured severely. And then when he came back, somehow he came back, or they sent him back, I'm not sure, but when he came back, then the Dalai Lama asked him, he said, was everything okay? And he said, I thought there was a moment in which I would lose my compassion. And what he meant is that they were torturing him so much, but still he felt the test for him was to just hold on to his compassion. Like, how many of us can do that? And then there's another story of this person, let's say this saint or guru. He showered and he was heading to the temple to worship. And then some boy, again being reckless, naughty, so he spat at the guru. So the guru went back and showered without saying anything. And then he's going back to the temple. Again, this boy spat at him. And this continued a number of times. The boy kept spitting and the guru kept going back, showering, heading back to the temple. Until finally the boy just gave in and he said, how comes you didn't react? And he said, I want to be your disciple now. Now, I'm sure, our Western mind, analytical mind will say, well, couldn't the guru take another route? And, there must be another way. Of course, but it's a story. It's to point out that when we keep an aim to practice something, especially something like a strong quality like compassion, if we really keep that aim, I really think that we can succeed. But for that, we have to understand why. Why is it that I should be compassionate? This is, I think, the secret to this. I need to be compassionate because I don't want to create the negative karma. We can all exercise violent communication. We all have it in us. We all have the vices. We can all choose that route if we want. But what will be the ripple effect? You say something, and really in that moment, I have a choice. I have a choice to be rude back to you, or I have a choice to be quiet, or I have a choice to say something nice back to you. And my feeling is these days that, yes, there is a lot of anger in the world. There is a lot of enmity. Now people are going to start taking sides. I'm going to be with this country. I'm going to be with that country. And because of that, there is going to be conflict. And I have to be at peace and really, honestly, not take sides, because our commitment, what we can add to the world, is our compassion. We have to have compassion for this side, and we have to have compassion for this side. And each one is doing whatever they're doing because that's what they know best. That's what they've been accustomed to. And really, we don't know the full story. We don't even know the story fully from what the media tells us. So it's not right to really take sides. Yes, we all have opinions, but what is actually going to work, right? This is the question. And that is the power of good wishes. This is really what I want to emphasize today. Compassionate communication is the power of good wishes. And as we send out good wishes, and we have experienced this a number of times, we've experienced sending good wishes to each other when we are sick. We've experienced our seniors getting better, the elderly getting better when we send them good wishes. And I always say, okay, it's not that their situation might change. Okay, say we're sending good wishes to some conflict area. It's not necessarily that their situation will change just because we thought of it, but somehow those souls will get the power and the courage to deal with that situation. So that's what we're doing. With our compassionate thoughts, we are sending signals to their soul so that their soul can then deal with whatever they have to deal with. They will have the hope, the courage, the insight, the intuition to deal with what is in front of them. And this is how we are helping these souls in need. So every single virtue, this is the thing now, we listed this morning, every single virtue is needed in compassion. Kindness is needed. Sweetness is needed. Cooperation is needed. Love is needed. Being big-hearted and generous is needed. Being sweet, what is sweet? What does it mean to be sweet? To say sweet words, not bitter words, not words that are like thorns that will bite. That's why I said earlier, you know, do I really need to say something sometimes? Okay, so let's say, for example, okay, so Jabin says to me, Aruna, thank you so much for organizing that party. I really enjoyed myself. And I can just say, yeah, great, you could come, right? But if I say, yeah, well, I'm glad you appreciate it because it cost me a lot of money, you know, right? Was that comment really necessary? Did it really help the situation? No. So this is what I mean about the sweetness. Sweetness can be a kindness, sweetness can be a silence. Just sheer appreciation of the moment, of what's happening. And yeah, this is you're happy and they're happy, right? Okay. The other thing is, and I've done this in our workshop sometimes, and this is and you can try this, okay? Like, try to just compliment other people. And what I mean here is whatever they're doing, and okay, even if it's not quite perfect, but just say, oh, you did a great job, wasn't that wonderful? Or, wow, I really enjoyed that, whatever, the meal, the project, the video, whatever. Yeah, that was so delicious. I mean, just compliment. Because you find that as you compliment, you give the other person confidence. And as you give them confidence, they actually do start to do better. What's the other side of the coin? The other side of the coin is, oh, you're so terrible. You never get anything right. In fact, Jabin, I'd like to share. I have one or two slides. If you don't mind, I'll share.
Yes,
Yeah.
sister.
Okay. Yeah. Can you see it yet?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, so I wanted to share this. Let's share this now. Okay. So yeah, regarding what I'm saying and how I'm saying it. So if I'm not appreciative, I'm doing something like this. Okay. So a simple comment like, have you not done that yet? Right? It depends what you emphasize on, right? So if you emphasize on, have you not done that yet? Then what's the tone? The tone is, well, why not? Like, you should do what I tell you to do, right? Like, you should obey all my orders. Okay, have you not done that yet? Well, have you not done that yet? In other words, can't you do it? Are you silly that you haven't or you can't? Okay, have you not done that yet? Which means you're so slow. Can't you be a bit fast? And have you not done that yet? Like, it's so simple. Can't you see? Do you see? So when yeah, I'm not choosing the right types of words. That's what I'm saying. Really, they say, right? If you don't have anything to say, then better not to say it. But if you want to say something, then yes, there's something like, is it positive? Is it valuable? Is it powerful? Like there's these like few criterias you should check. So when I compliment the other person, I'm actually boosting their spirit. So even if it's not a great job, but the fact that, like, I'm a very honest person. Like when I give a compliment, I genuinely give a compliment. Otherwise, I'd be quiet, actually. And so, you know, when my compliment is there, it's a genuine compliment. And yeah, I do like this, and I do it. I do like to encourage. And so as soon as I see a good job done, I'll say, wow, that was great. Like the other day, somebody, instead of me telling, they already did something. They posted something somewhere. And I said, great, fantastic, bravo. Like they didn't need to be told. So this is like an encouragement, you see? This is compassionate communication. Whereas if I'm just seeing their, okay, so together with complimenting them, see their virtues, right? This is the other parallel to that. See their virtues. And everybody must have a certain virtue. We can't say, no, they don't have any qualities. No, everybody has some quality. Even your enemy will have a certain quality. And just think, your enemy might be making you strong, right? Your enemy is flexing your inner muscles, muscles to tolerate, muscles to be patient. So really, everybody has a quality. And if I zoom in on that, then I'm giving power to that. And again, we have many experiences of this where the dadis of the Brahma Kumaris, the elder sisters, the leaders, they always saw some speciality in us young ones. And this is our experience because they saw it, they pointed it out, they would keep zooming in on it. And then we start to think, oh, okay, you know, maybe we can do that. Maybe it's possible. And that's how we start to have the courage and the confidence. So it always works, right? And this is another story of, what's his name? Oh, goodness. The leader, the guru, a management guru. Oh my goodness, it's right at the tip of my tongue. Anyway, it will come to me. But his story is that he has 9 children. Who wrote the 8th habit? Oh, it's just at the tip of my tongue. Anyway, the same author. And so anyway, so yeah, he has 9 kids. And what happened is that one of them was not doing so well. And his wife and him were having such negative thoughts. Yeah, Dr. Stephen Covey. Thank you so much. Yeah, Dr. Stephen Covey. And and they were having negative thoughts towards this boy. And the reason was because of his ego. He said, you know, he's my kid. I teach everybody how to do well. And why is my kid not doing well? And so this kid was feeling this pressure that I have to do well just because I have to do well and, you know, impress my parents. And so he was feeling the pressure, and because of that, he wasn't getting good grades. Then they both decided, the parents both decided, okay, we are not going to, you know, pressure him. We just accept him as he is, whatever he turns out to be, whatever job he gets, let's just accept. And that's what they do. And that it's just vibration now, yeah? Maybe they let go a little bit of saying certain things, but it's just vibration. And somehow he felt that pure vibration. I don't know, he felt some release of vibration, and he started to do well at school. And I have another practical example from Kuwait, where there is a Kuwaiti student stroke teacher who teaches meditation. And so she was having the same thoughts for her daughter. And she thought, why isn't she doing well? She should do well. All of us have done well. you know, it's the family name at that's being dishonored. And again, then one day she just decided she's going to let go. And whatever is her part, she said, whatever she's meant to do in her life, I accept. I've done my best. I took her to the best schools. It's up to her. And just because the mother just let go, switched off, the girl started to do well. And she's turned into a very lovely person, very lovely human being. And so really, this is what I want to say, the power of good wishes. This is, I think, one of the ultimate forms of compassionate communication. And I've done this exercise, as I said, of telling compliments in the workshop. So I play nice music, and then you're walking around, and then I get you to just whisper a compliment into the ear of somebody else, even if you don't know them. And as you whisper that compliment, really you start to see that person's face light up. So if you even if you say something like, you look great, or I love your silence, I love your vibe, you're wonderful, anything like that, this is like the power of good wishes to that soul. And during that experiment, like, the whole vibe changes in the room. It's also like as though everybody gets to know each other, even though they don't know each other. You know, you could have 50, 100 people, but suddenly everybody thinks they know each other because this one said this about them, something nice about them. So really, if you want to change the atmosphere, think positive, speak positive, say positive, wish positive, right? And this is the power of good wishes and pure feelings. So, but of course, I have to underline, it has to be genuine. It's not just lip service. It's not I say something, but I'm thinking something else. This has to match, right? The heart has to really feel that compassion. That's why I feel that compassion is deep. You have to have a compassionate heart if you really want to help somebody. And then the other thing is how to say this. So it's not just, okay, so it's not just that I send them a message, like a text message. No. When we really want to talk things of the heart, it's really good to be face to face, right? The second best is like this. This is why this is the second best now, because you can see and hear me, and well, I can't see any of you, but I hope you're there. And so it's anyway the face-to-face communication. First is in person. The second is face-to-face like this. At least you can see and hear. Then third is voice, right? So sending a voice message. And then I would say last is a written message, whether it's in text, email, fax, something like that. But whatever you want to communicate, really, whether it's good or bad, I think, or something that's disturbing you, I mean, it's best to do it in person. And in our karma lesson, what we are taught is that the level at which you created the karma, you have to settle the karma on that level. So if I have had a negative thought for somebody, I can't, yeah, okay, fine, I send a good wish, okay. But if I've spoken something bad, I can't say, okay, I'm having some good wishes for them now. No, I have to apologize. I have to. I said something bad, I have to verbally apologize. And in the same vein, if I've taken something by accident or broken something that's in action, then I have to repair it. I have to pay back, or I have to give back, or I have to replace it. I can't say, oh, well, I'm sorry, right? It's not enough. So the level at which it's created, thought, word, or deed, at that level, I have to settle that karma. Again, that is being kind to the other party and not just taking advantage of them, or not taking them for a ride, or not respecting them. And then I want to just show you, yeah, so back to this screen. A couple of other slides. Yeah, here. Okay, so I think some of you must know, right? Dr. Emoto, because you're from Asia. So he's from, well, he's passed away now. He's from Japan, and we had actually invited him to one of our conferences. But at that time, he fell sick and he sent a representative, and they gave a beautiful presentation. Okay, so basically, I think some of you know he's done work on water. Okay, and so he takes water and he takes very microscopic pictures of that water before and after prayer. And then he added other things to it. So you can see on the top, compassion, thank you, wisdom, and then of course saying Buddhist prayer. These on the top are all positive, right? And on the bottom, if you put on the water beaker or the glass, if you put something like "you fool," some writing like that, it's the energy of that. And that's the molecular structure of the water. Same if you say "I will kill you," or even something like "I hate you." There's actually no structure, right? It's awful, it looks ugly. And then if you play heavy metal music to the water, then this is what happens. So I'm just pointing out to you the power of good wishes, that if it can affect this matter, can it not affect us? And the other thing I want to point out is there's this something called, some of you may know, this agency called HARP, right? High Frequency Active Aurora Research Program. And they experiment with sending signals out in the form of vibrations to just above the Earth's crust, right? And in some cases, it has been blamed for a number of natural disasters. In fact, sometimes they say it's actually a weather weapon. So they're sending out signals and the universe is responding. This is my point. So what I'm saying is, when you send out a good wish, don't underestimate the power of it. Don't underestimate the power of positive thinking. When we really zoom in on the virtue of someone, the goodness of someone, the quality of that place, or the positive quality of that project, whatever, when we just zoom in on that, focus in on that, highlight that, give that more energy, then that's what's going to mushroom or blossom. You could equally focus on the negative and say you're not good enough and you can't do this, and yeah, you're giving power to that. So this is one thing. And now let's just talk a bit about communication skills, and then yeah, okay. So as I was saying, this is from the conflict resolution, and those who want, you can download a free copy of the conflict resolution book that's from my blog. Okay, so this you will find there. Okay, so okay, when we communicate with other people, it's best to use the I statement, right? So not to say like, you make me angry, or because of you, that's why, you know, this is what it is. But if you say something like, I feel tired, or I get worried when, you know, when I'm put in this situation, or I get stressed when, you know, there's too much to do, rather than you overload me with so much. Do you see? Like, instead of blaming other person, let me use I. And I doesn't mean that I'm self-sabotaging myself. It's not poor I, poor me, not like that. But I'm expressing what I'm feeling. So, for example, okay, you know, whatever, Peter, when you speak too loudly, I can't think, right? So I'm blaming the other person, right? You're speaking loudly and you're to be blamed for my attention or lack of attention. But if I say, oh, I'm not able to concentrate when there's a lot of noise or a lot of sound, that sounds so different. And the other person is able to accept that. And then they'll say, oh, well, how can I help you? Right? Rather than you blaming them. So just you keep using the I statement. I feel, I would like. This is another important thing. Yeah, express what you like. Express what you want. Using I. Okay, number 2. So let them talk while you listen with attention. As I said, it's not good to jump in, and because if we jump in to finish their statement, it's like we're not listening. It's like, well, we're hasty. We are not really listening because, you know, we're not really listening. In other words, we preempting what we think they're going to say. And that's why we have these words on the tip of our tongue. So when I'm just patient and still, and again, I've seen this with our leaders, spiritual leaders, when you go to them and they just listen to what you have to say. They just sit and listen. That's really their job, to just sit and listen. And then they'll just say 2-3 words and you're satisfied. Somehow, I don't know how, but it's like, I think you got it off your chest, but it's the energy with which they said it, the love with which they said it, and you're just satisfied. So we can try that, yeah? Okay, number 3, yeah? Use and instead of but. So what I mean here is, so Jabin, you did a great job of organizing this talk and got the flyer out in time and managed to let everybody know, but, so when I say but, that means, oh, something negative is coming, right? But if I say, oh, Jabin, you did a great job and maybe next time we can do this, then again, it's accepted, right? Easily. But if you say, oh, you know, Raj, you made great food, the curry was great, the rice was great, but the salad, I mean, even all those compliments before are negated because they'll just remember this last thing, right? The but. Okay, ask clarifying questions. So clarifying questions are open-ended questions. Okay, so, okay, a closed question is, Jabin, are we meeting at 12 o'clock today? That's a closed question, which means it has a yes or no answer. Are we meeting at 12 o'clock today? And so, yes, we are meeting. Okay. Open question, Jabin, what time are we meeting today? So in other words, how are you feeling today is an open question. Are you feeling sad is a closed question. In other words, you're zooming in, you really want to know. So you say, how are you feeling? Open-ended. You know, you can say whatever you like. But then you want to zoom in and say, oh, did that hurt you? And then they say yes or no. And then you zoom in on that, you see? But most of the time we want to ask more questions about how are things going in general, and just inquiry. This is the other thing. Let us do inquiry rather than judgment. Because when we inquire, we are open. When we're in judgment mode, it's like we already know, or we already know the ending. And so we already have some whatever solution, or, you know, we already have an answer. So let us ask more clarifying questions. Again, that just keeps the communication flowing, right? Like when there is some disputes to solve, or even at home, at work, anywhere. If you just stay open, then even kids will say, okay, mom, listen now. As opposed to mom says, I know what happened. Don't tell me what happened. Okay. Number 5, look for areas of agreement. So what this means is I say, okay, so whatever, Mary, I know you want some peace and quiet, and I also want some peace and quiet. But perhaps the way we're going about it is in different ways. Or, yeah, I also want my house tidy. I know you also want, your area tidy. So look for areas of agreement. When you focus on areas of what you agree on, again, that gives power to why you should solve that conflict. It's like you're helping the other person to see that there are positives here, like you're both working in the same direction and not against each other, right? So you're not win-lose, you are win-win. You both can win. You can have what you want, I can have what I want. And then observe body language rules. So, right, this is very important. So back to compassionate communication. So compassionate communication is not this, right? Right? When you're bossy and or when you go, yeah, what do you have to say? And you're not really there, present. You're not really interested to listen. So what you're saying and your whole body language is not in sync. And so you need to say, okay, yes, tell me, I'm here. Again, yeah, not in this patronizing voice, but just, yeah, to be present. So be careful of your body language. And mostly with conflict resolution, you should be sitting equally opposite each other, not one behind a big desk and the other one in a small chair on the other side. No, the power balance should be equal. And each should feel comfortable in that space. In fact, that's why it should be a neutral space. It shouldn't be in somebody's house, I mean, it shouldn't be in one party's house or one party's office. Find a neutral space that is new to both parties. And so you're both on level, on par. Okay, and then reframe. Yeah, reframe here means to say again. So I say, for example, okay, Mohammed, okay, is this what you meant? Is this what I heard you say? Did you say that you were tired and that you didn't want to do this project? So they've said something to you, and then you reframe it in your words, and then you share that. Yeah. So perhaps, time is going. So perhaps we can do a little meditation. And would you like meditation, Jabin, or would you like questions? Whatever you like.
I think let's start with a few minutes of meditation.
Okay.
And then we'll move on to the question and answers.
Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah, let's just try and feel some of these things now that I've been talking about. Try and bring them into our awareness. So yeah, just sit comfortably. Take a deep breath. And so what I'd like to do is, first and foremost, I would like that each one of us surrounds ourselves with that blanket of compassion. So first of all, I'd like each one of us to surround ourselves with that light of kindness and compassion, which means I'm just gentle on myself. Don't beat up on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. Just pat yourself on the back for all the good that you are doing right now. I say to myself that I'm doing the best that I can in this moment. I'm as peaceful as I can be in this moment. I'm kind and generous as I can be in this moment. I just simply acknowledge my capacity. And from this place of acceptance and love, I'm then able to share this same acceptance and love for the other person. So now I accept the other person for where they are at. I don't expect them to be perfect. I'm not there to fix them. I just simply love them for who they are. So I'd like you now to visualize somebody, and I want you to practice sending your light and love to that person. So first of all, just see their quality. They must have some positive quality. Some virtue, some strength. And then you say, I really appreciate this quality of yours. This is the quality that makes you special. And you start to see their face light up, and they warm up to you. They begin to trust you. They begin to love you, to respect you. And then love reciprocates love, and respect begets respect. And now I do that for somebody that I don't know. Maybe a stranger in the mall, supermarket, on the road, in the traffic jam. I'm just there next to them, and I just send them light. And I wish them well on their soul journey. May you do well. May you fare well. May you have good health. May life be easy and smooth for you. May you be comfortable. May there be ease and a flow in your life. May God give you the courage. Just some thoughts like this. And as we do this, how good do we feel? So let us always choose the path of compassion. Om Shanti.
Thank you, sister. That was indeed very uplifting, especially the last bit that you said, that whilst doing that, while sending the good wishes and the pure feelings, how good do we feel? That is amazing. So it is important to have the ability to communicate with compassion. Compassionate communication shows a genuine desire to understand and get to know the other person. This is what I have just made a short highlight of what you have said today. We have a few questions. I'll read them out to you. Sister, this is about compassion towards others. What about self-compassion? People who faithfully offer compassion to others often neglect to do the same for themselves. It is so difficult to strike a balance sometimes. Could you kindly share some insights?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's very important that this is why we have to serve ourselves, really. Most of us who are meditators, that's why we meditate in the morning, because that is the time to fill up, to replenish the self, so that then for the rest of the day I can give from my cup. So you have to find the time. This is the thing. You have to make time, you have to find the time, and get in that little early morning meditation. Sit with yourself. Talk to yourself in the same way as I was now just talking to the other person. This is what we're doing. We are patting ourselves on the back. I'm saying, okay, Aruna, you're doing great. Keep going. It's wonderful. Like we have to speak this kind of compassionate language towards ourselves. And as we do that, then we get versed with this language, and then we're easily able to use that for others. Like I always say, if I cannot give something, why? The only reason is I don't have it. So if I can't give love, I don't have it. If I can't give compassion, it means I don't have it. So from where I will get it? These things don't grow on trees, right? So I have to sit with myself, and deep down in my core, there are these qualities. So I sit, I remember, I get in touch, I remind myself I am that, I emerge it, and now I have a new tool with which to deal with life. So if somebody needs love, I give love. If somebody needs compassion, I give compassion. Somebody needs respect, I give respect. Attention, whatever one needs. I'm there, I'm ready, I have it. I don't know if that answers the question, but
I think that reminds me of the saying that charity begins at home. So we should start with ourselves first before giving to anybody else.
right.
The next question is, I have practiced compassion many times, but each time people take advantage of me. Each time I love the person, in return, they took mine. I understand about the vibration of love, but practically it always returns something mishap to me. Thank you so much.
So my answer to that, okay, is, and I really mean it. So if you're ready to give something and you think that somebody took advantage of you, that's your thinking, right? You were ready to give and they took. So let them take. But yes, I have to protect myself. I give you a few examples. So, okay, see, now we have lots of dates coming in our tree. Okay, we have like 4 or 5 date trees. So we'll have lots of dates. soon, right? And then I have so many dates, so I'll say to some of the people, okay, come take the dates. Now, if one person takes, a whole bunch, do I say, oh, you're taking advantage of me now? Because I've already offered, right? Or am I now trying to control? No, you should only take this much, or you should only take this much because like, no, I'm there to give. So, okay, maybe he's taking and he wants to share with many others. So when I've decided to give, just give. Okay, here's another story. So the story is that this king decided, okay, he decides, okay, he's got this certain amount of whatever gold coins in a bag, and he decides, okay, he wants to give it away to some holy person. So he goes on his horse and everything, and he finds this like a guru, like a saint sitting under a tree. So he feels, he would do well with this amount. So he gets off his horse and he puts the bag in front of this saint, and he says, here's a bag of gold coins for you. And so this saint, he just grabs the bag and he runs. And he runs and runs, and then the king tells his men, go, find him, run after him. And the king too is on his horse, and they're chasing him. And of course, the horses cannot go through the small streets, and they lose him. And it's been some hours. Then the king thinks, okay, let's go back. Let's go back to that same place. I'm sure he's bound to return there. And they go back, and they find him sitting there. So the king says, aha, see, we found you. And the saint said, did you really give it up? You see? So the king thought he gave it up, because if he gave it up, it shouldn't matter what the saint did, right? The saint can run off with it, right? But no, he was still attached to whatever's the next step. And so when you give, be sure to give. And don't hold on, don't try to control, don't try to anything. Just give and let go. Really. That's the best.
Okay. Our next question is, what if the person doesn't understand? Then is shouting needed to get the work done? Or I think to be firm.
Yes, see, again, if they don't understand, they won't understand in any language, right? If you've explained very clearly, because somebody can understand with signals, right? Somebody can understand with, as we say, ishara, signals. So in answer to your question, no, we cannot justify the anger. We cannot say, I had to get angry because he didn't understand. Because anger, again, is very short term, very short-lived success. You can get angry and get the job done once, but it won't happen again. You will lose that person. So yeah, the ultimate way is love. And another story for this is, so there was the sun and there was the wind. And the wind was quite arrogant, blowing away. And the wind said, okay, sun, let's have a competition. Let's see who's more powerful. Let's see, who's more powerful. So the sun said, okay. And so the wind said, you see that man down there wearing his coat and hat? Let's see who is able to take off his coat and hat. So sun says, okay. And so the wind, right? I'm saying how wind is the force, right? So you're saying anger is the force. So the wind blew and blew and blew. And what did the man do? He held on to his coat even more tightly. He held on to his hat even more tightly. because the wind blew and blew and blew. And then finally the wind got fed up and stopped. And then the sun, what did the sun do? The sun just shone and shone and shone. And the man got hot and he took off his coat and he took off his hat. So it might take a while, but love always wins. Anger does not win. So yeah, you can't justify anger, really. And of course, you end up getting upset, you end up getting hurt, you spoil your health. It's really not worth it, really. Okay.
I think we often use anger as a shortcut because that's the fastest route we feel. We have two more questions. Sister, is that okay? You have time?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. This is a question from the Indonesian YouTube. How to release the burden of the mind so that we can become souls full of love?
Let go. Let go. Right? There's the expression, the bird is standing perked on the branch and he says, I cannot fly, I cannot fly. And all he has to do is let go. Let go of the branch. Trust. Trust that you will fly. Trust that everything will be okay. Really. The only way to feel lightness is to focus on the lightness, not on your burdens. Imagine, visualize that you are a free bird, not a caged one. And yeah, you will feel it. You begin to feel it. It's not about flying anywhere, literally. But in your spirit, you just feel light and easy. And everything's possible. And I can do anything. And yeah, it's great. Everything's great.
Okay. We have a comment and then a question. Someone said that our wives have such an effect on the atmosphere. That's why Atma and the sphere around the Atma is atmosphere. Is it okay to speak sweet and follow the things you mentioned, even if you don't necessarily feel the same intensity in your heart for them, but you want to wish them well and give good vibes?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And see, again, just do a little soul searching and ask yourself, why is it that I'm feeling this way towards this person? And of course, you know, right? I'm sure many of you are on the spiritual path, and the answer is expectation. Expectation is the biggest killer. So as soon as I expect, I've set myself up for sorrow. Really, you've got to underline this. As soon as I expect, I have set myself up for sorrow. So don't expect and you'll be okay. And as I said, just accept what they do, how they are. And from that place, they can grow. They will grow. I see it happening here. From that place, they will grow. And not only that, but they'll be eager and willing and, have enthusiasm. But if I'm constantly beating up on them, being negative, critical, they just go into their shell and they're not growing. So yeah, just keep it up. Just keep up the good feeling, right? That's your question. Even though you don't feel it, yes. Just keep it up and then find out, why is it that you don't have such good feeling? Is it that you don't believe, you don't trust? And then you just clear that. And I always find, like, um, find some spiritual virtue in them. Find some, not just as a skill. You might focus in on, you might say, okay, they're a good cook, but that's not enough. Like, maybe you might say, no, they're very honest and sincere, or no, they're very calm. Like, no matter what I say, they're very calm, or they're always smiling. um, And so look for some, some soul trait in them. And then you begin to have some respect for them. When you have that respect, then that genuine love will flow for them.
Okay, thank you, sister. There has been a question about your blog, and I've put it down on the chat box. It's called It's Time to Meditate. There is one question on YouTube English. Is it okay? Will you take it?
Yes, because it's lunchtime. So
Yes. Yes, sorry. How to get over the medication of anxiety and sleepiness?
How to get over the medication
Medication of
for
anxiety and sleepiness.
Mm. Have you tried, has this person tried alternatives? I mean, there are lots of alternatives. You can have chamomile tea, you can have lavender, you can have lavender sachets, you can have lavender spray. This helps a lot of people because I gave something to somebody and that really helped them. So I know, I mean, it's difficult. I'm not a doctor, so I wouldn't say come off them, but just try to find alternative ways. Meditation is one of the greatest tools. Try to meditate really at night before you go to sleep. Just 5-10 minutes. Just sit with yourself peacefully. Just try to sum up your thoughts and just remind yourself what a peaceful soul you are and how life is great and everything's wonderful. And really, you're feeding that to your subconscious, and then you go to sleep with that mindset, with that calm mindset. And hopefully it will work.
Okay, so apparently I read it wrong. It was not sleepiness, but it is sleeplessness. So the person is not able to sleep. So maybe they can contact the nearest center and try and get some meditation classes and try it out. Thank you, Sister Aruna, once again for joining us.
Jabin, so I think one has to manage their day and their thoughts, because you can't just get to the end of your day and expect to just switch off. Like throughout the day, you have to be kind of, as I said, let go, let go. If something happens, just full stop, let go, don't expand. Don't hoard things in your mind for them to then be resolved at the end of the day. Then you become heavy. Then of course you can't sleep because there's like a huge burden on your head. So as much as possible, it's really the chicken and egg. Is it the day, or is it the night, or is it the morning? They're all interconnected, you see? So wake up early, have powerful thoughts. Then in the day, again, peaceful, powerful thoughts. And let go of anything that's not useful. Put a full stop. In the evening, you're lightheaded, go to sleep, have a good sleep, wake up early. You see, it's all interconnected. So try that also.
Thank you, sister. Thank you for your time and your wisdom. Thank you for joining us, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Our next session is on the 19th of June. I've dropped my number. Feel free to message me so that I can update you with the details. Until then, let us try and practice what has been shared by Sister Aruna today to communicate with compassion. Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
Om Shanti.
All the best, everyone. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.